Dynasty Dogs run fast.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome into my dog's favorite podcast, the Dynasty Dogs, brought to you by the Fantasy Football Universe. I am your host for this evening, Michael Anthony. It's a little weird because it's daytime, so I don't know what's happening. But with me back in the doghouse, taking a long hiatus, is my good friend, the man who takes all the bush lights at your local beer distributor, Rich McAteer. How are you, Rich?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good. We finally had football this past week, or NFL football for that matter. Actual games being played, games mattering. How you feeling after week one? For your fantasy teams, we'll start with that.
Oh God, they're awful. I think I'm in. How many did you get me in? Another 4 leagues this season, so 8 altogether, and it was brutal. I think I won 2 out of 8.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So I've learned one thing. I know that I'm in way too many leagues, and it's too overwhelming to be in this many goddamn leagues. This is the most I've ever been in my life, and it's a lot. But it was a slow dude. I have AJ Brown in a lot of my leagues, and when you have one catch from your second round pick, you're really not gonna. You need a miracle.
There's one league where I have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and George Pickens, and Thursday night I was just in a hellhole for the whole entire. But then somehow I ended up. What's that?
You have Brown and Smith playing at the same time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a league where I had Devontae Smith, right? And someone offered me AJ Brown like at a discounted price, and it wasn't like I couldn't say no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I got him and Justin Herbert in that same deal. So I was like, okay, I kind of got to take one for the team and see if I can move one of the two. It hasn't happened, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I ended up somehow winning that week. So, blessed be
nice.
the quarterbacks that I had with Justin Herbert and Michael Penix. But
dude, I had one dude. I seen one, so I like doing redraft. So I did redraft. I'd say Kyler Murray. I'd like reading it like Kyler Murray gets like fucking diarrhea or something. So I'm like, all right, I'm not playing him. I fucking look an hour later, dude's got like 25 points. Yeah, thanks so much.
It was a good week for the Arizona pass catchers. And him. And James Conner, I think, had a really nice game because I do have him in a couple spots. So that offense might be on the uptick, but we might talk about that here shortly. Tonight, we're going to go over several games from this past week. Rich and I both brought games to the table that we want to talk about, especially some dynasty value stuff that has happened during those games. And then we're going to look ahead to the following week or the next week, week 2, and some games that we're very interested in for one reason or another, talk about how the game might look and how some of our dynasty assets will look in that game. But first, we have to go over Rich's dreaded That Bite segment, and I got to hit the picture here because that's
the part that I hate so much.
This is the part he dreads the most.
Just do it. Just do it. Man, you are really smooth at transitions.
This got the dogs barking.
The hell was that at the end?
The dog's barking.
Do it again. Okay,
it's a breakdown from a metal.
Okay, I thought so because I didn't know what it was drums. It was at the end.
But anyway, let's get into the bits of news and notes we have. We have several things. We'll start with the easiest part here first. The Philadelphia Eagles traded for Tank Bigsby for a 5th and a 6th round pick. Kind of a surprise to both of us. I remember texting you. I was like, the Eagles traded for Tank Bigsby ? And you're like, what the fuck? Can he play corner?
Good question.
So the interesting thing about this is Tank Bigsby is just essentially in Dynasty. He has become just a roster filler right now, right? Yeah. He's a guy that if something happens to Saquon Barkley, obviously, but he holds no standalone value now outside of the Jaguars. For redraft, he's droppable, and then to see what happens. For a 5th and a 6th round pick, I mean, it's something, right? They traded something for him. It's not much, but there is some – injury concern with Will Shipley with the rib injury. I know those things can kind of linger here and there.
It's got a cracked rib. One of them's cracked.
Is
So,
it cracked? I only saw a
yeah.
rib injury. I didn't see what it exactly was. And then I don't think they're extremely impressed with what AJ Dillon has brought to the table. So I'm interested to see what they do with Tank Bigsby. But again, he's just kind of like, I'll stash him on my bench and see kind of what happens for Dynasty for redraft. He's non-existent to me. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think ever since he got moved to the Eagles, he kind of like lost all monetary value in fantasy. I thought he was going to be, sharing touches with ETN. Now he comes here with a running back room that has 4 running backs, so 3 with Shipley out. I think the Eagles aren't really impressed with AJ Dillon, but we also did lose Van Sumeren 5 seconds into the football game at fullback. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was thinking like they get creative. Maybe they put AJ Dillon at fullback sometimes. I don't know. But either way, I think Bigsby kind of is more or less for the kick returns, which I seen video of him today and he fumbled it. So
Yeah, that's something we got to worry about.
I was
But
like,
we
okay.
haven't had a kick returner like Britton Covey was fine, but he wasn't like a guy who you felt would take it to the house. Like he would get you what you could get, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen Tank take it to the house. I believe he even did it to us in the London game, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. Now, from the Jaguars side of this, we just saw Travis Etienne go off for 100 and I believe 50, 60 yards plus this past week. Then you have Bashal Tutin and LaQuint Allen. Is there an interesting factor there when it comes to the Jaguars?
Well, see, I knew this all along. This was my master plan. I took the approach of no running back approach in redraft and took 4 wide receivers in a row. The one running back that I did take was Travis Etienne because I believe he's going to have a bounce back year. This is opening the floodgates for him. Last year or the year before, it was like, oh my God, Tank Bigsby's coming in. You better count ATM, better count his days. Now it's this year. You take out Bigsby, you put in Allen, you put in Tootin. I'm not afraid of either one of the guys. I think it's ETN's room. He had a great game last week, and I think he's on the rise.
Yeah, I think ETN is relative. I wouldn't say safe because we've seen this kind of from ETN in the past, and then he's going to fall off for a few weeks and then kind of bounce back. And I say fall off. He had an extremely impressive game this past week. He might just drop down into 10, 12 points a game for a few weeks and then start, destroying it again. For his backup, I have never been impressed with Bashal Tutin, right? I think we've talked about that ad nauseum, the fumbles, the inability to win between the tackles, and then the opposite for LaQuint Allen. I've been extremely impressed with his pass catching, his run between the tackles. I'm very interested to see what the way they deploy these 3 running. Well, the 2, because I know ETN now is the guy. Right. And we saw the 4 of them play last week, right? But in smaller doses. So we saw Tank for 3 carries, Bayashal for 2, LaQuint for 1 and 1 reception. So everybody got involved. It just was limited. Now at 3, I would imagine that.
And they activated or they brought up a guy from the practice squad. I'm not sure what his name was. He's a running back. I forget his name. I think he's number 32. They just brought him up, so I think they're going to have 4 running backs down there. So
that's going to be again 4 running backs.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Jags, real quick, one last thing on this. I know it's a little off topic. How did you feel about Travis Hunter this past week?
He's got a kind of. It's his first game, so I'm not. I wasn't really expecting much. I didn't see this. I didn't see the splits. You cut out, Mike. You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I didn't see the splits on how many snaps did he play on offense or on defense?
So I think he barely played any defense. I think it was maybe 1 or 2 snaps here and there. Offensively, he played a decent amount. I know he had. Let me double check that real quick. I want to say it was closer to about 9 points off the top of my head. It's a respectable showing.
I don't know how. Well, I kind of always wanted him to blow the doors off first game, but I don't really even know how they quantify his points in fantasy because I think.
Well, I'm looking at a league right now that only quantifies his offensive points. Right.
What is our league?
He would get both.
He gets both, no matter where he plays.
Yeah. So I'm looking at a league. He had 9.3 points. 8 targets, which is nice, but then 6 receptions for 33 yards. The 33 yards kind of sucks, which means a lot of the targets were close to the line of scrimmage, and that's what I kind of saw based on some of the things I've seen from that game. Trevor Lawrence didn't look all that good either. Again,
I know. It's just I think it's kind of much of what's going to be with him. That's just what you're going to get out of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just always going to grind and struggle to get. I'm trying to pull up how many points he had. Like grind and struggle to get what he kind of puts up. But he put up 17.
It's respectable, but it's not. It's kind of like it's never going to be enough, right? Because it's all of what we've wanted him to be, and it hasn't hit that floor. You know what I mean? The dogs ain't barking at that one.
No,
right?
I started him over fucking Caleb Williams because I thought he was going to destroy the Panthers, and clearly not. And I lost because of that.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about Caleb here shortly. I know that's one of my games. We didn't break down what who has what games, but a little bit more news that we have, and it's a double whammy for the San Francisco 49ers. George Kittle headed to the IR, which is just fantastic after I just traded for him in a league. Love to say it. And then you've got Brock Purdy going to miss at least between 2 to 5 weeks with turf toe and a shoulder injury. So he is head, shoulders, knees, and toes at this point.
That dude's always hurt.
I don't. While I will say there is something in the water in San Francisco because everybody fucking gets hurt on that roster somehow. Right?
That's true. Got CMC, Kittle, and Purdy always hurt all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah. How are you feeling with Mac Jones coming into play for the San Francisco 49ers now? Because he is the backup. Last year he played from weeks 10 through 18, 13 points a game in that span with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not really great at all, right? No. 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, kind of like a Jameis Winston stat line, right? So what do you think this offense looks like with Mac Jones? Is there any interest in Mac Jones at all in Dynasty or redraft?
No, I would try to move Mac Jones for whatever I could possibly. Yeah. He's That's kind of just whatever you can get, dude. If you can get a 4th round pick for him, fucking go get it, because like those types of draft picks, I feel like you can eventually package together towards the end of the season to try to move up further. Especially someone who has Brock Purdy. If you don't have Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, I feel like you need to move Mac Jones to whoever has Brock Purdy. They'll probably be the one who wants to trade for him. But I don't think that might be a death warrant for the 49ers there. I think it's going to be a meddling team at this point.
I think so too. The only player I'm interested in on that roster, even with Mac Jones, the quarterback, is going to be CMC. Right? Yeah. I think he's just going to be the entire offense. Ricky Pearsall has some interest to me. He's always, he's been a sell for me. And even now, he'd be a sell for me because, people are going to bring up, oh, look what Brian Thomas Jr. did with Mac Jones last year. Really kind of exploded even without Trevor Lawrence. I don't see the same player with Ricky Pearsall that I see with Brian Thomas Jr., right? Pearsall's a solid wide receiver. He can be a difference maker, but there is levels to the difference maker tag, right? Brian Thomas Jr. has the elite athleticism that could take him to the top of the wide receiver ranks. And I don't really see that with Ricky Pearsall. Will he give you a respectable 12 to 14 points in this time frame with Mac being the quarterback? Probably, right? Because there's really no other pass catcher there because Jawan Jennings got hurt too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. And Brandon Ayuk's been hurt for 3 years in a row, I feel like.
So he's just going to be the product of having nobody else there, right? And with Mac Jones being quarterback, I am fucking scared, right? I would sell him off if I could. I did just see him moved in a league, probably a reaction to this. Tell me what you think of this. It was Ricky Pearsall and for Terry McLaurin and a 4th.
You received Terry McLaurin?
Somebody received Terry McLaurin.
Oh God, for Ricky Pearsall?
Terry McLaurin and a 4th for Ricky Pearsall.
Oh God, they're taking Terry McLaurin all day.
Yeah, so am I. So am I. Especially with Jaden.
Absolutely.
It was bad last week with Terry, but I don't think people are remembering Terry didn't do anything this offseason besides hold out, right? So there's going to be some growing pains.
And I feel like it's week 1. Week 1 is like gross. for fantasy. You know what I mean? It takes a while to get the blood pumping. Nobody plays in the preseason, so week one is almost like preseason one.
It's the worst time to overreact, right, in fantasy football, because you're going to see things like, him not doing anything. It's going to be a rough season, I think, in San Francisco. Last bit of news I have with the two players, in San Francisco. No surgery expected for Xavier Worthy, which is huge. Only expected to miss one game. We were all kind of hoping for the week one explosion for Xavier Worthy with nobody else really there. And then Travis Kelce just decided to fucking Chancellor the shit out of him.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen that video yet.
They ran a crossing route, right, where they were crossing each other, and he just fucking laid him out. Like, it was an accident, obviously.
Right, but dude, didn't that happen last year with
Patrick Mahomes and
Rashee Rice? What's going on?
It was a different play, but
football much. Dude.
Yeah. What's really funny? People are blaming Taylor Swift for this because on their podcast, Taylor was talking about how she drafted Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, and she was like pumping him up a little bit, and then a fucking week later, Travis Kelce fucking pulverizes him.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Well.
So now we're looking at an offense with Travis Kelce, who I watched that game. He didn't look impressive.
No,
right?
He hasn't.
Right.
Even last year.
Hollywood Brown was impressive, right? But he was the best of nothing. So none of the running backs look good. Jalen Royals,
Juju Smith-Schuster,
he sucks. Jalen,
he put up 11.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't even remember him. I remember him catching a football, but 11 points much. I didn't see.
Yeah, I mean that's like a million compared to anyone else on the goddamn team.
Well, fucking Hollywood Brown went off.
Did he?
Yeah, he went off. But Jalen Royals is going to possibly miss another week with knee tendonitis, which fucking sucks. What's your outlook for the Chiefs right now, especially if Worthy misses another game? Is it hands off?
Well, they're going to start 0-2, so it's going to be pretty.
Oh yeah, they got the Eagles this week. I forgot.
It's going to be rough. I mean, you know what? I mean, it's par for the course because I bet them in my yearly parlay of division winners. They're going to win the division, but I have been saying I'm taking the Chiefs winning the division until they don't win the division because they haven't done anything to prove that they're not the best in the league or best in their division. But this could be the downfall, and injuries are coming quick, fast, and in a hurry. Like you said, Travis Kelce pretty much looks like a shell of himself. You have Rashee Rice serving a suspension. He won't be back until what?
Week 7, I believe it is, because it was 6 weeks.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the end of October, early November. I don't know when their bye is. So, and then you have Worthy who's hurt. You have Royals who's hurt. So it's kind of like, whoa, this all happened so quickly.
Right. And it sucks because we expect it sucks from a fantasy aspect because we were kind of hoping for Patrick Mahomes to really kind of get back to what he was when he had all these weapons. And don't get me wrong, Patrick Mahomes actually looked okay with what he had. He even rushed for a touchdown too, if I'm not mistaken.
He put up 30.
Yeah, he put up a nice stat line even with that. So could he still be fantasy relevant, dynasty relevant? Sure. Absolutely. But nobody else. I'm not, not going head over heels for anybody else over that roster.
And they kind of did themselves a disservice. I think Travis Kelce, I think this might be his last year.
I think so,
honestly. They don't have a replacement for him. And ideally, you would want to do what, the better Kelce brother did and kind of handpick your replacement, kind of teach him under your wing for a year. If he pulls, the plug on it this year or after this year, I mean, that kind of sucks for them because he could have been a hell of a mentor for the guy coming in.
Yeah, I kind of I know they really liked the dude they drafted last year, Josh Wiley from TCU. Just a big athletic tight end. He's had some injuries even in college, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But with this tight end class that was, it was nice to see them take one, right? But we always
say the same thing, right? The same thing I say for the Eagles, and I mean, it's now it's hindsight, but I love the Eagles draft. But man, there were so many tight ends that the Eagles I wish would have taken, and I'm like, because Goddard's always hurt. Hurt.
Again, it's
every year. No.
Never ends with him. That's why he was a sell for me. But let us get into the week 1 rewind, right? And Rich, we will let you start off. What is the game you
Thank
want to
you.
talk about?
All right, so the first one I got written down here is the Steelers versus the Jets.
Oh my God. What
I
a
know
fucking barn burner that ended up being somehow.
Yeah. So what I have written down here is Calvin Austin. I want to talk about Calvin Austin a little bit.
Speak
Six
your truth. I
targets.
love this.
He's rostered 81% of leagues, so he's available scarcely. But I believe before this week he was available in a lot more. I had picked him up over the summer because I was bored and I was just thumbing through fucking fantasy football. But 6 targets, 4 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. He put up 18 points. He was the second on the team in targets. I'm wondering if he could build on that. There is not really anyone beating down the door to be the number 2 in Pittsburgh. We both know that my next guy that I'm going to unfortunately have to talk about, Aaron Rodgers, loves to find his niche guys. You had Randall Cobb, you had the Lizard. Amongst God, that was out of my head. Now it's back in. He's had his like solid number 2 guys around his Devontae Smith, i.e. his DK Metcalf now. So he is, wide receiver 2. I don't think there's anyone beating down the door to be the other number 2.
Devontae Adams, right? You said Devontae Smith, and it really
Did I? Sorry.
I was like,
yes. No, Rodgers had his Adams, who now is his Metcalf, and he had his other secondary guys like Randall Cobb and Lazard, who are now Calvin Austin, who those guys all ate with Aaron Rodgers. I think he could be a viable flex. I don't know what you think. I kind of have that.
What I think?
See.
That's going to get the dogs barking. Because I was waiting for you to ask me because I wanted to fucking hit the button. I've kind of liked Calvin Austin for a little while. Like he wasn't really on my radar. I've had him stashed in a couple different spots for dynasty purposes. I ended up trading him away in a league for like a 3rd round pick. In hindsight, being 2020, I probably would have kept him at this point, right? If I would have really thought about it. But he's now in that range where you could still get him for a 3rd. I think he's the best second option on that team. I think Roman Wilson sucks. Like that leads me to another conversation that Wiz of the Dynasty DNA Network and our good friend TJ, both these guys, good friends of the show, good friends of mine, right? We talk to them pretty often.
Is this where you insult them after you say they're good friends?
Yep. They fucking said that Roman Wilson was going to outscore Travis Hunter. And in a game where both teams put up 30 fucking plus odd points, Aaron Rodgers at 40 some odd years old threw 30 times. Roman Wilson saw no fucking targets. So get out of here with that nonsense.
He threw 42 times. That's going to be in my next. Oh, wait. Never mind. I was looking at my other guy. Never mind. You're right. 30. Sorry.
But yeah, I really like Calvin Austin, like a guy who, gives that Tavon Austin vibe, right? Like,
because he's small, he's like 5'9", like 160.
But like scrappy, but can also take it to the house because he's just like really elusive. And I like that player. I've always been interested in that player. But like again, right now, this is the best situation for him to be the 2 behind the DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
What are you willing to trade for him right now?
I'd give up a 3 for him.
Yeah, I'd give up a late 3. A mid 3 probably gets it done.
Yeah.
Because if you think he can help you, right? Like, why fucking not?
Right. And if he can just build on the 18 points and the targets, I mean, like I said, second on the team in targets, I think that's going to, intensify as their relationship grows, which leads me into the dreaded Aaron Rodgers. 30 attempts, 22 completions, 244, and 4 touchdowns. Is Rodgers back to his old self? Does he have anything left in the tank?
I fucking guess so, because like I think we all thought the Jets defense was going to give them a problem, right?
Yeah.
And they just fucking diced them up. I couldn't believe it, right?
I couldn't really either. It was kind of like,
with borderline no running game either, if I'm not mistaken. I got to pull that up. The leading rusher on the team was Jaylen Warren with 37 yards on 11 carries. Aaron Rodgers was that offense, right? And that's just strange to me.
I think I think it also could have had a lot to do with them playing the Jets. I know he had bad blood with the Jets on his way out, which is no surprise. But I kind of think that could have attributed it to it.
You saw what he did say after
the
game, right? Where he was like, how do you feel about beating Aaron Glenn and how he didn't want you anymore, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I just feel good beating that organization. Like, dude, come on. You're 43 years old, right?
Yeah.
But I was impressed, especially given the circumstances of being a team kind of depleted of talent, right? That at least we thought. And then beating a Jets team that we thought was going to be a good defense. And this game ended up being a shootout. Like, I didn't see that coming at all. And your Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson stack also looked pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I seen that. They cooked Darius Slay, dude. They got that dude on skates, dude. That was so... I'm like, dude, I can't laugh because it's like our cornerback 2 here is like fucking ass. But, dude, he had him beat by 4 steps, dude.
How about that hit by Jalen Ramsey to end the game, though, on Garrett Wilson? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
He fucking laid him. So it was – they needed a first down to keep the drive going and went to Garrett Wilson, obviously, and he just got fucking popped by Ramsey, and he dropped it.
Did they call the flag?
No.
Did they throw the flag?
No. But surprisingly, no. The Steelers take on the Seahawks next week. Do you see Aaron Rodgers coming back down to earth, or what is your outlook for him?
I look at Aaron Rodgers as someone who just said played the Jets, who's a vindictive type of player. And DK going back to Seattle, I can see him wanting DK to flame the Seahawks. I can see DK going off. So I could see Rodgers having another good week.
Oh boy. And then I think the overreaction is going to come in hot and heavy because, like, I think we might see a few good weeks from him. Oh no, I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. No, what the fuck? Why do they have it like this? They have the schedule really fucked up. So it is Seattle this week. The way I'm looking at the schedule, it had like the game and then the Patriots and then the Seahawks game. So I was reading, but the dates were set up correct. I was fucking confused. But I'm interested to see what, like you mentioned, what he does against the Seahawks defense before going any further. He does have a pretty decent schedule. The Patriots, the Vikings, the Browns, the Bengals, and then somehow he gets his revenge again against the Green Bay Packers. He might actually be a solid option going forward with the matchups he has. Yeah.
I mean, you kind of got to play him until he proves that he can't do it.
Father Time is going to have to catch up to him.
Sure.
Right. Sure. That's what I think. But let's get into my first game here. And we're going to talk about 2 quarterbacks, right? And it's going to be the Monday night game. The first Monday night game of the year. It was Caleb Williams, the Chicago Bears versus J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings win that game 27-24. We'll start with this off first. What is your confidence meter in J.J. McCarthy after he throws 13 of 20, 143 yards, 2 TDs, 1 INT? Had a solid showing. What is your confidence meter 1 through 5?
I think about a 3. I should be right in the middle. He wasn't really a gunslinger at Michigan. He ran around a lot, but good teams have to run the ball. Good teams run the ball. They don't have to throw it.
Is that an Eagles?
As we know very much. But I think it was a solid start, something to build off of. Not over 200 yards, which I kind of expected. But I think it's something he definitely can build on. They got a solid wide receiver core, receiving group there, and Jefferson and Thielen back in town. Waiting for Addison to get back. Yeah. But am I confident in him? Yeah, I'm in the middle. I didn't see anything. It's like when you do a survey, you're like extremely confident, neither, or like poor, or I'm right in the middle. I'm not disappointed. I'm not overexcited. Right where I'm right in the middle.
You're lukewarm, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
For me, I would say I'm at about a 2.5 confidence, right? I also forgot to mention he did rush 2 times, 25 yards, 2 TDs, which is solid. It's kind of what we want in today's game for NFL or for fantasy purposes. Rushing yards from the quarterback can make or break your week, right? And that's what ended up putting him in the top 15 scorers this past week. So why I'm not super confident just yet, and I'm going to say this because I've been kind of anti-J.J. McCarthy, right? The first half of that game watched it. Looked like absolute dog shit, right?
Mhm.
He was just looked like he didn't belong out there. There was a pick. He tried to throw an out route to Justin Jefferson, and it was picked off by like the fourth string corner from the Chicago Bears, who used to be on the Minnesota Vikings, but just read his eyes perfectly. And he looked overmatched. The Bears were sending everything out at him and making him uncomfortable. They didn't get a running game going. Mason and Jones looked bad in the first half. Then they came out in the second half and things started to switch, right? Jordan Mason was able to start to run the ball, and then you run the ball well. He had a passing touchdown to Aaron Jones, and the confidence, you could see it just flipped. Right,
you kind of need that to happen. I mean, you need that. That's he's a rookie quarterback. Let's not, that's what he is. It's a weird situation. He never played an NFL game. This was his first NFL game
too.
Yeah, he's just kind of, he's a baby giraffe. He needs to like get his legs under him and get going. And this was a good game for him to kind of do that.
And especially to bounce back in the second half, right? When you're a rookie, when you're kind of shell shocked in the beginning, like everything's flying at you. And it's kind of the championship mentality that he has had since his time in Michigan, right? The reason why I'm not like overblowing this is because what I saw in the first half of that game. Like I said, he looked like dog shit. That confidence is great, but it's not going to work every single fucking time.
No.
Right? It's going to burn you at times. And, they have another tough matchup this week with the Atlanta Falcons, which they look a bit different, right? So I'm interested to see what he does at home in Minnesota against a team that is hungry, a team that is also hungry with a
pissed off.
Pissed off that they lost that last second. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave that alone because I'm going to talk about that shortly. But anyway, let's flip it to Caleb Williams. After a 21 for 35, 210 yards, 1 TD, then rushed for six carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. A really nice fantasy showing, but he folded in the second half. He did the opposite of what J.J. McCarthy did. What is your panic meter 1 through 5 on Caleb Williams?
I'm not panicking. I think probably a 1. I think the Bears win that division. I took the Bears in my parlay to win that division. Partly because it was right after the Parsons trade and they jumped to plus 600. I'm like, give me that. Because I truly believe they're going to win it. It's just he has to be that generational talent that everyone thought he was going to be. Mm-hmm. Coming out, he was that guy. He was the number one, no questions asked. But you kind of have to show that, you know what I mean? Now there's no excuses this year. They went out and they picked up 4 new linemen. They drafted another wide receiver. They drafted a tight end. They drafted Colson Loveland. They gave you all the weapons. You have arguably, one of probably the second. I don't really know how because I love the Eagles offense, but like the Bears offense, you look at you got DJ Moore, you got Adunze, you got Burden, you got Loveland, you got Swift, you got really nice pieces. A lot of teams would kill to have that type of lineup, and you just kind of got to utilize it, dude. Like it's like you went out and got 4 new linemen. One was an All-Pro. Go out and play the game you know how to play.
I will say I'm at a 2, right? And then that's not really hot nor cold. It's kind of just like, actually, it's more cold than hot, right? And the reason why is because what I saw in the first half from him was confidence, not holding on to the ball too long, getting the ball out quickly, kind of what he didn't do last year, why he was sacked 68 times. They were protecting him well, and he was just playing the game within the game. Right. Second half, comes around and he does, like I said, the opposite of JJ, kind of starts folding, right? Making some bad decisions, making some errant throws. And what I noticed was a lot of throws that what he was making was high, which means that you're uncomfortable. You're a little too hoppy, right? You're like trying to get the ball out. You're forcing it and it's sailing on you, right? You're not as super confident. And that ended up being the detriment. I don't know if you saw the play to DJ Moore where DJ Moore was running wide open. He put his hand up and Caleb threw it out of bounds. Now, I watched Ryan Fitzpatrick break this play down. The play design was for DJ Moore to hit the corner route to the end zone. And that's where the ball was exactly placed, right? But DJ Moore saw something and put his hand up and said, like, hey, I'm running wide the fuck open, right? Just hit me now. Like, it's perfect timing. And instead, Caleb threw to where he was supposed to go, which was still open. But, like, if he hits DJ Moore in stride, it's a different ball game at this point. So
you got to kind of not be a robot. You got to you need to adapt to your surroundings. Everything's not going to be cookie cutter for you.
Which is crazy because, like, we've seen him play this backyard football type stuff. That's what made him a generational Mahomes talent. You know what I mean? Like the guy who can make these plays off kilter. I was kind of surprised by that, and that kind of scared the shit out of me a little bit. But, like, shit happens, right? Let's see how he responds to this next week. I'm not super panicky. You're not super panicky. I believe in the offense that they had. The offense looked much better with Ben Johnson. I mean, look at how the Lions fucking looked without Ben Johnson. They look lost. So there's something happening. It might just take a few more weeks than what we expected. I was glad to see him rush for 6 times, 58 and a touchdown because I talked about this last week. He was the only quarterback in the top 17. He was number 7, right, in rushing yards for the quarterback, but he was the only one in the top 17 that did not have a touchdown rush. So he got one this week, so that makes me think that it's going to be better fantasy-wise for him. And I believe in the talent. I think we'll be okay. But let's get into your second game. Who do you got?
All right, so I looked at the Falcons and Bucks.
Okay, good. This was my other one, but I have another one to talk about too.
All right, I wrote down Michael Penix, 42 attempts, 27 yards, 298 yards. Or 42 attempts, 27 completions, 298 yards, and a touchdown. Was this a breakout game for Penix? Is this his coming out party? I kind of think so. He looked like a hell of a player. It was a tough loss for them. Nothing on him. He kind of looks like that dude, though. He really does. He looks confident in there. He's getting the ball out for almost 300 yards. Any other day of the week, that's a win.
I love that you brought this up because, like I said, this was one of my picks as well. I watched this game. I watched it back. Michael Penix looked good. He looked like what we've seen from him from college because obviously we only saw a short stint last year with three games. We saw what he did. Just fucking pepper Drake London. Kyle Pitts alive, right? Which is crazy to think about. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier combined for 48 rushing yards, right? And Michael Penix still balled out, which is fucking crazy. Did you see the picture of Penix reaching out to score that touchdown? It's literally, you love Space Jam, right? Remember when Michael Jordan reaches out and it just keeps stretching and dunks it? That is exactly what Michael Penix looked like in that still frame. I don't know how the fuck he scored on that play.
Right.
The only reason they lost that football game was because Cordero Hodge has the awareness of a dead squirrel, right? And Younghoe Koo just usually is pretty automatic, just fucking missed it, right? It was a super frustrating game to watch. He also, like you mentioned, the passing yards, he rushed 6 times, 21 yards and a TD, like I mentioned. So he even gave you the rushing floor that we kind of want as well, right? He ended up quarterback 10 this week.
Yeah.
I am all systems go with Michael Penix. Darnell Mooney's coming back this week, hopefully. Drake London will be healthy again this week. I don't think we'll see a combined 48 yards for Bijan and Tyler Algier again. So I think this offense is going to be extremely impressive. By the way, Bijan has 24 yards rushing, but 6 receptions, 100 yards is fucking crazy. Yeah. So I think this is a scary football team right now.
Yeah, just bad luck.
Really bad luck. Did you see the Cordero Hodge corner of the end zone? Am I saying is it Cordell Hodge? I keep getting him and Merrill Hodge in my brain because of the last name, and I know it's not Merrill Hodge.
No, it's not.
The other part of this game I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if you have it in yours, but how about Egbuka? Do you have that in your notes?
No, I know he went off though.
4 receptions, 67 yards, 2 Ds. He was two TDs. He was wide receiver 4 on the week with 23 points. How are you feeling about Egbuka right now? Are you buying, selling, holding? Like, what is?
I mean, I would I would hold on to him, but it's kind of surprising. I thought he'd kind of be outshined by Mike Evans, but it seems like it's like he's taken on a year early. I
Mhm.
feel like I thought he was going to eventually fill the shoes of guys leaving, but it seems like he's there. He's making his presence known.
Yeah, he we kind of talked about him leading into this draft as he was just a professional wide receiver, right?
Mm,
He just looks like Chris Godwin.
yeah,
And I'm very interested in this team because it's a team or in this player because this is a team that's going to throw the ball 40 some odd times,
yeah,
right? Even when Godwin comes back, which he practiced today, which I probably should have had in the notes. I forgot to mention. I don't really see like a worst case scenario for Egbuka with Godwin
mhm,
back. Maybe he doesn't get the 2 TDs, but if he still gets 4 receptions, 67 yards, solid outing for a rookie, right?
yeah,
In his first game. I
yeah.
was very impressed by Emeka. I'm holding. I don't think the buy window is there right now.
Mm-mm.
After this game, I'm sure it's skyrocketed.
No,
I've seen some trades. Let me think. Tell me what you think about this because this is going to pull at your heartstrings. Emeka Egbuka and a second for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
oh, I'm taking Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I think I am too.
Yeah,
I think the hype has gotten a little too high, but
yeah,
I see the reasoning, right? I
mhm,
think people are a little afraid and panicked right now because of what the Lions look like, and then they just saw what Emeka did in his
yeah.
first game. But
Mhm.
again, we can't solely overreact on this. We know Amon-Ra St. Brown is a stud, right?
Fantasy football is just overreaction. That's
It's
what
a
it is, man.
it's a cruel
It's all
mistress, especially
yeah,
dynasty, right? Because you want these players on your roster forever,
right. Yeah,
and you want them to be what Amon-Ra St. Brown is. But like, you ever see Men in Black 2? He's like old and busted, new hotness.
yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown ain't old and busted. He's
No,
still like 26 years old. He's still good.
yeah.
He had a decent game this past
Yep.
week while the offense looked like shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not super freaked out about this. But the next game I want to talk about is the Sunday night showing. The Bills and the Ravens, 41-40. Bills get the comeback win. The two players I want to talk about here is someone that you were high on his rookie season, kind of had a mixed bag, kind of a lower bag, his rookie season. Keon Coleman, wide receiver 2 on the week with 25 points, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 112 yards, 1 TD. Is this legit, or was he just the product of a shootout?
No, I could be a little bit of both, but I think this kind of could have been him showing what kind of wide receiver they thought he was,
Mm-hmm.
and what kind he can be for Josh Allen. There's no one really there to catch the ball besides Kincaid, your
Who
boy
had a nice game
Shakir,
too. Both
right?
of them
Yeah,
had.
but he could solidify himself as wide receiver one there. There's no he has to take advantage of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one there really to push him out of the way. It's kind of his game to lose, his spot to lose, and I think he had an impressive week.
Yeah, he did. And then people were saying, I've seen people say, he made big off of a tip drill play, right? Which is fine. But if we go back to what we talked about with him, is that you said we thought he would be a decent red zone threat, a guy that could get the ball in the back of the end zone for Josh Allen, a guy
Mm-hmm.
who can win in the end zone. And that's essentially what a tip drill is winning in the red zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shit like that happens. So that is exactly what I wanted to see from him. Shakir, Palmer both had over 9 targets, over 50 yards. Kincaid had over 40 and a TD. Will this be a spike week for Keon Coleman? Probably. Could I see him being a guy who fits into your wide receiver 3, your flex spot week in and week out? Yeah, I think he's going to be a boomer bust type player, right? He's either going to do this or he's going to get you like 9. And, for my wide receiver 3 or my flex, that's fine because I want the explosion games to happen, right? I'm hoping that somebody in my flex outproduces somebody's wide receiver 1 on the week, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're hoping for. And I think Keon Coleman gives you that upside as a football player.
Mm.
The next guy is Mr. Zayday himself. It was Zayday. Zay Flowers looked like a fucking menace out there.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 1 on the week with 28.1 points, 7 receptions, 9 targets, 143 yards and a TD, 12.9 yards after the catch. That shows his impressive playmaking ability. Is this the sign that the breakout is happening? The third-year breakout for Zay Flowers is happening, or again, is this another product of shootout?
I think it's that. I think it's a product of a shootout. Just because
Wow.
I don't think he throws the ball enough. They scored 41 points. I don't think he throws the ball enough. Derrick Henry, obviously is Derrick Henry. I just think I got to see more.
Okay.
I definitely got to see more.
Derrick Henry still went off in that game, and we still got a 7 reception.
It was, it was a high scoring game, and they kind of high intensity game. High leverage. They had to go. They were going back and forth and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
That Baltimore was down. Or it was back and forth. So it was kind of like we have to throw the ball. We have to throw the ball. We have to throw the ball. It was never. They kind of had the pace of the game and dictate the pace of the game. So okay. I think that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, I kind of see the argument there, but I've been on record saying that I think Zay is one of those guys that is, a guy who's going to finish at the back half of a top 24 wide receiver, right? Yeah. Wide receiver 22 to 24, maybe 20 to 24, year in and year out. And this was a nice spike week, but I think he gives you a safe floor, right? If that's 7 receptions for 60 yards and a TD is still a very solid football game. Right. Mm-hmm. For even on 9 targets for a wide receiver 1 on the week is not extremely, high for 9 targets. Right. But he made well with what he did. So I still believe, and I mean, obviously I still believe it because he just balled out, but I think the breakout is here. I think he's the primary pass catcher in that offense because I don't know where the fuck Mark Andrews was this past week. It was pretty much the Lamar Henry Zay show, and I think that's what we're going to see.
And you're forgetting the best wide receiver of all time,
DeAndre Hopkins. That was a crazy catch.
That was a catch, dude. That was a catch.
that is like one thing people just don't care about anymore because everything's about route running. Right,
but he's had in his entire career the best. If you look it up, the best hands of any wide receiver ever.
I would argue Calvin Johnson's up there.
He had I think in Arizona he had 1 drop in however many years.
Oh, I know. I remember.
It's unreal.
He is one of the best wide receivers ever, but I feel like he falls into the underrated category slightly. He's just so fun to watch even at this point. But Rich, let's look ahead to week 2. Who is your look ahead?
Sorry, I'm looking up how many career drops. 35 career drops in 1,465 targets.
That's fucking that can't be real. That's not real, is it?
A drop rate. Wait, this is the 100.
I'll look it up.
Had just 3 drops on 460 targets from 2020 to 2024. 3 drops in 4 years.
That is that's unteachable stuff right there.
3.6% drop rate.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
It's insane.
Let's see, receiving. Where is the drop thing here? I'm on PFF. Drop percentage 3.5, which is fucking insane on how many targets. He's got 1,592 targets, like you said, and then a total of where'd it go? I keep going by it. 37 drops. That's criminally insane.
Yeah, I just put it in Google and this is 35, but maybe there's 30, even 37. That's insane. But
PFF can be weird with its drops. There is I'm going to talk about one of these players, but in that game, Denver versus Tennessee, Chigo Okonkwo dropped the ball. It hit him in the hands. It was a one-hander, but he dropped it. But PFF didn't give him a drop.
Right.
So I guess it really depends on what they quantify as a drop. But go ahead. What was your first game?
So my first game is going to be Bears versus the Lions.
Oh, okay.
Who's going to start 0-2? Will Williams remain a top 10 in quarterback ranking? I think he was 9 this week. Mm-hmm. Will Roma Dunze get off the ground? Did he had more targets than DJ Moore, who's the number 1 wide receiver there? They're my
He did have a touchdown too.
Yeah. So kind of like those. That's my outlook on what I'm going to be looking for. We did touch on Caleb Williams a bit earlier, and is he going to turn into that guy, or is he going to fold like a cheap suit? We don't know. And are we going to see a clear-cut number 1 wide receiver from the Bears? I don't know.
Yeah, I want to see a bit more. I think Caleb did a good job this past week spreading the ball around. Eagles legend Omala Zacchaeus had a nice game, right? Cole Kmet had a few nice catches. I don't think we saw much of Colson Loveland, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
we didn't at all. They fucking played him.
So it was essentially the DJ Moore and Rome Odunze show. Rome did have the touchdown, so that kind of separates it a little bit. But overall, solid game. Want to see more, like you said. Who do you think takes that game?
I think the Bears take it.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the Bears.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the Lions either at all, so I could see that. My first game is the Tennessee Titans taking on the Los Angeles Rams. I almost called them the St. Louis Rams, but that's not it anymore. The Rams are 5.5 favorites in Tennessee, and I understand why. Week 2 of Cam Ward, there were a lot of drops last week for the Tennessee offense. Calvin Ridley had 3 of them. Yeah. Unexcusable for a veteran wide receiver to be doing that, right? You have to show up for your rookie because I know you and I were texting back and forth that, Cam had, I think, 3 points fantasy-wise. He couldn't get anything going. He was making some fucking wild throws like we've seen, and just nobody was stepping up, right? And I was texting our buddy Chev. Who probably would have made some of those fucking catches is the guy who's on their fucking practice squad right now.
Yeah.
Xavier Restrepo. I think they need to make the call there because
I mean, just even the continuity between them two. It's just
get the confidence of your rookie quarterback.
Yeah, right. Exactly, dude. It was his guy in college. It would just make sense. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and this is another tough week. Cam didn't really look rattled, right? He looked tough in Denver against one of the best defenses in football. And now he goes to now he's at home against a Rams defense with Jared Verse, one of the best defensive linemen in football. Brandon Fisk, I believe, is their D tackle. And then they've got some really nice corners and safeties. So this is a really tough matchup again, which is good for a rookie because you want to see the moxie that they have, right? And what they have in bad situations, because this is probably going to be a bad situation, right? We saw what, Puka Nacua got his face blown up and he had blood dripping down and he came back in the game. Devontae Adams looks solid. Matt Stafford, bad back and all, was still out there doing some things. This could be another mess of a week. I think the Rams take it for them. What is your second game?
All right, so my second game is going to be the Giants versus the Cowboys.
Okay.
Can we finally say Russ is cooked? Is my main that I have in bold letters. That and how long are we going to wait till Jackson Dart steps in? If Russ plays pedestrian again, like he did last week, and gets another L, will Dart play in week 3? I'm kind of like when will the other shoe drop? When are they going to be like, okay, is enough? When is Brian Daboll going to be like, okay, my job is definitely on the line here. When am I going to pull the trigger? Because Mr. Unlimited is he's kind of ass anymore, dude. He's not making the throws. He's making bonehead throw. You know what I mean?
Neighbors looks fucking pissed.
He looks pissed, dude. He looks like he's like, what the fuck is this dude doing, dude? He's trash, dude. He put up like 160 something, 158 something like that, under 2. He just looked so mundane, and you could get the offense going with a young gunslinging quarterback and a young wide receiver. You kind of grow the continuity. I just said it with Cam Ward and Restrepo. You have to grow the continuity. What the hell are you got Russ there for? You know what I mean? Like, do you think you're going to win this year? Right. Like, realistically,
is he going to keep your job? No.
If
Mike Tomlin got rid of him,
right, like if you go out there and you put the young guy out there and you win 5 games, okay, that might save your job. If you got Russ, who's a shell of himself, and like you win 3 games, dude, you're out. You're not going to the playoffs regardless. And he looks like shit. I wouldn't even start. I'd start Jameis over him.
Oh, yeah, probably. I think I would too. At least you'll have fun with it, right?
Right, exactly.
I do think at some point, maybe at some point this week, we see Jackson Dart. I could see this game getting out of hand. I think the Cowboys are going to be angry, right?
Yeah.
Because they just lost at home to Philadelphia. They were moving the ball pretty well, but
Mhm.
thankfully that we were able to keep up, right? Or not keep up, keep them down,
Yeah.
even without Jalen Carter. But I think this team's going to be pissed. I think they're going to blow the doors off of the Giants this week.
Mhm.
I need to see, someone other than Wan'Dale Robinson be good on that
Yeah.
offense, right?
Right, dude. You're checking down to your third wide receiver. Jesus Christ,
Second.
dude. You think he's your second?
Yeah. Who's third?
Mhm.
Or who would be your second?
Man, Jalen Hyatt, dude.
Oh, he stinks.
He stinks. What's his name?
Darius Slayton would have been
Yeah.
an argument because he's at least a veteran, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think it's neighbor Slayton Robinson, but maybe it's the other way around.
I want Jackson Dart out there for Malik Neighbors, right?
Mhm.
Guy who's not afraid
Dude,
to put
that's
it
going to
up.
be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch.
Not as an Eagles fan, it's not going to be.
No,
But
of course not.
But again, Jackson Dart brings a rushing threat that defenses are going to have to adjust to, right? Russ isn't that anymore. He
No.
could get you a couple of yards on the ground here and there, but it's not going to be what it was,
No.
5-10 years ago. I think we will see Jackson Dart at some point in this game, especially if it's the blowout that I'm seeing. Are you looking to get Jackson Dart now before that happens in Dynasty, or are you
I
just
got to
kind of
do that. I already got him, baby. I already got him.
But if you were to recommend
guys-
to someone else now, would you give up a 26 first to see if you can get him ahead of time? Because some people were drafting him either at the back end of the first or in the second round, right?
Yeah, I drafted him at the back end. I think I had 11. I drafted him at 111. I would probably give up a first because it's tough, dude. It's like, it's a crapshoot. You got the top quarterback from this year's draft, or top two. You got to get Cam, obviously, and then Dart is the way I had them. But are you going to get Manning? Is Manning coming out? What's his name? Nussmeier. Is he coming out? And then you got Sellers from South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to get is the draft heavier in quarterbacks this year? Do you think you can move up? You got to do all this thinking, or you can just give up the first. If you're like, okay, let me get a young quarterback under my wing here, and I think for a one,
you're missing one quarterback from that draft class, and he's your cousin,
Tomater, Mac McLeod. What's his name?
John. Mater, yeah, John Mater, the quarterback for Oklahoma.
He's gonna get smashed. He's getting smashed this week by Temple.
I don't know.
I'm gonna hit the money line right now.
They did just beat Michigan, so maybe it is like a down game for them. But Mater's looking like he might make a push for. This is somebody you and I have talked about off the air that we kind of like. Gives me that Baker Mayfield kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for dynasty purposes, right now with this quarterback class looking kind of up in the air because we don't know who's coming out. Lenore could go back. Arch, I think, is definitely going back. Nussmeier and Klubnik are definitely coming out, but I don't think they're really impressing me all that much. So I would think I would take the swing on Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
And see what happens. My next game here is going to be the Texans versus the Bucks. Let's be honest, fucking Stroud looked like shit this week.
Dude, I know.
I am not happy. I thought this offense would look different, right? With Jaden Higgins, with Nico Collins. Maybe I thought Jalen Noel would show up this week with Christian Kirk out. Which that sucks because I thought Kirk is a nice safety blanket. But, this is a opportunity for Stroud where he just saw Michael Penix throw for almost 300 yards. Stroud's got to do something here. And the Texans or the Titans the Bucks are not giving up any yards on the ground, and you don't have a good rushing offense in the first place. So you're going to have to beat them through the air. And Stroud, you better wake the fuck up, buddy, because you are looking lost out there.
Dude, I got started Stroud in redraft, and I'm just like, I'm done. One game, I'm pulling him. Drake May's going in.
Oh, I would too. I think I would
Drake
too.
Drake May's going in.
Especially because this May gives you the rushing upside.
Yeah, right.
You have the weapons, especially in the wide receiver room. I just tough defense against the Rams last week, so maybe it's week 1. I don't want to overreact, but Stroud, you have to bounce back because it was a middle of the year for you last year, and then a rough week 1. You got to step up now.
Yeah.
Any last things you want to talk about before we let you go? We let us go. I'm not just going to let you
Are you
go.
saying
And then
on
I'll
here?
stay. Yeah.
No. I think we're getting ready for the football game tonight. Who is it?
Packers, Washington.
Packers, Washington. I think I'm going to take Washington.
I think
It's tough.
It is tough.
It's going to be a good game for sure.
I wonder how Mike has looked against Washington in his career. That's an interesting question, obviously. But he looked like a man possessed last week.
Yeah.
Too. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good one. I think, I've talked about on here that Green Bay is good, but they don't really have the star talent on offense, right?
Right. That's exactly that's what separates them.
Yeah, but the defense is studly right now.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll see if that can continue against a high-powered offense in Washington. So for this episode of the Dynasty Dogs, brought to you by the Fantasy Football Universe, we will see you guys next week. At the end of every episode, Rich and I talk about mental health. It's super important to us. Make sure you are speaking up and speaking out about the issues you're having, or if you notice somebody that is, struggling in their own personal life, just remember that you are loved, and just make sure you're reaching out.
Yep.
All right. See you guys next week.
Peace.